And final speaker of the day, Mr. Jim Walker, who wanted me to introduce him as the proud father of Audrey Rose. So we're going to hear more from Mr. Walker. Thank you. Afterwards, we'll have our reception outside, and if any of our out-of-town guests are interested in doing a tour of the new hospital, please sign up for that at the VR desk, and David and I will take you over to the new hospital to show you around. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I know that you're anxious to get to that after party, so I'll try to make this as brief as possible. I have to tell you that as a parent, it's very exciting to be here, and the main reason is that if it wasn't for Dr. Hanley and the team and people like you that do this kind of work, my daughter would be dead right now. She was in that group that if she wasn't operated on by 2 years old, then she would have been dead. I've never been able to thank Dr. Hanley because he's such a humble and giving man, so this is my opportunity to say to all his peers and colleagues, thank you very much, Dr. Hanley. I do want to tell you that it is a little unusual, I guess, to hear from a parent, but I am going to talk about an issue that could save people's lives. And it's going to take me a little bit to get through to it, so I just ask for your patience today. Sitting over here, and these are just notes that I wrote today because I've never been to a symposium like this, and I was learning some pretty exciting things. But what Dr. Hanley doesn't know is I always wanted to be a professor at Stanford University. So look, Mom, I made it. Well, kind of. The professorship is going to have to wait a little bit longer. But, anyway. Some issues popped into my head as I'm watching these fantastic presentations. Number one, I've never done a PowerPoint. So it's like, gosh, I've given speeches, but how can I compete with God being up there with Dr. Hanley and everything? I just don't know. I don't have any dogs to reference, so I don't know how this is going to come off. I don't have any fantastic Dr. Hanley hand-drawn stents graphics to put up there to amaze you and make you really excited about, so you're gonna have to deal with that. I don't know how to get an arrow up on the screen, but things really got exciting when the two most prominent doctors here started arguing about stents and the exact process that my daughter had when she was first born that failed. So that was like, oh, that was making things really exciting for me. And by the way, I never got paid for my drug trials that I did, and I feel a little bit slighted about that. The doctor made me feel pretty bad, actually. So today, what do parents experience in a life-threatening process? And we all imagine what they experience, but how does it, can it really affect things down the line? And yes, it can. How do we handle the momentarily stressful, super stressful? I mean, can you imagine? Oh, by the way, Jim, here's her ultrasound, and she's going to die if she doesn't get worked on by the time she's 2 years old. In fact, she's going to be born dead or dying. So, I mean, how do you deal with that kind of information? I just wanted to let you know that I'm a local boy. This is a house that's over off Stanford Avenue across from the fourth fairway of Stanford Golf Course, where I spent a lot of my youth snaking golf balls out of there for my father. It was made by my grandfather and my father, both stonemasons and bricklayers, and if you look at the driveway, you can see it's made out of tile, and inside the walls are these really neat, beautiful bottles and things. So if you want to see one of the most unique houses in the world, 100 Stanford Avenue, drive by, take a look at it. Again, my grandfather and my father made it. So just a little bit about me. You look at the prospectus you have there, and you pretty much know everybody else. I'm a father of 6. I did do a little college. I ran a police and fire academy high school program, which we did about 8,000 hours a year of community service. And currently I'm a Scottish Highland Games heavy events athlete. A lot of you look at me, I can see those, like, what is that? Well, have you ever seen the guys running with trees that are 18 feet long and weigh 120 pounds and you have to flip it? Well, there's 9 events that you have to compete in. That's just one of them. So that's just one of the things I do. So I, without question, wanted to thank Dr. Hanley. And as a layman, as a parent, what is apparent to me and really stands out is the fact that the amount of courage it had to take to get this tetralogy of flow unifocalization process going. And so this is the day that my daughter was saved by Dr. Hanley in an 11-hour surgery. But what you may not know, and he doesn't talk about it, I'm sure, is that he's been responsible for saving tens of thousands of lives, a lot of thousands personally, and then the people, the doctors and the teams that he's training all over the world. I'm honored to be among the team of professionals here because you helped save my daughter's life. And even though I didn't get paid for my drug trials, I do have electric stuff on my screen up here. So I have that going for me. So I'd like to thank Dr. Hanley, Dr. Peter Coltai, which I'll talk about later, and you can see the names of all the other groups, and if I missed anybody, I'm really sorry. But as a parent, I can never stop thanking people that saved my daughter's life. Who is in my arms there, and the little one that's getting strangled below her is her younger daughter. She's now 11 years old, but that's my favorite picture of her. She has tetralogy of flow and several other heart issues. She has bilateral anophthalma, so she was born without eyeballs, is what that means. Now here's Dr. Frank Hanley, and I'm sure that he's not going to talk to me after this. He wasn't expecting this, but I'm going to do this anyway. And I can't believe that there's anybody in this room that doesn't agree with this. But I think Dr. Hanley deserves the Nobel Prize in medicine for the work that he's done. And now I've done some research on that. So I'm asking somebody out there to please nominate him. And why am I asking you to do it? Because I tried to do it. I contacted the Nobel Prize board or whatever it is, and they said, no, you don't qualify. You're just a stay-at-home dad, and we don't care what you did in your past life, but you're not going to do it. So this groundbreaking unifocalization technique saves thousands of lives. And in the future, of course, there's going to be tens of thousands of lives that are being saved through the training and everybody that he's working with all around the world. You know, they say that we're all descended from royalty at some point, one way or another. Well, pretty soon it's going to be that there's going to be a large number of people in the world that are going to be descended from those that are saved by Dr. Hanley and all the people that he's trained. So one of you has to take the ball and do this, because obviously I can't do it. I tried twice. They actually called me the second time and said, please stop bothering us with this. We told you to don't qualify, knock it off. I forgot that, sorry. So how could he not qualify? Well, take a look. If you just go look on the website and see what other people have qualified for. Some have saved a lot of lives, but many have not. But as I just said, in the future, there's going to be tens of thousands of people out there that are alive. My daughter is alive. She's 11 years old and done some pretty fantastic things, which I'll show you in a little bit. Here she is. Every parent, every child saved, every child's family member, medical staff all over the world, everyone knows that Dr. Hanley is a hero and has earned the Nobel Prize for Medicine. And all of them could be standing here right now, so I'm asking somebody out there to please nominate him for that. So you may be wondering why a parent, whoa, how'd that get in there? Okay, I'm sorry. That's Scottish Highland Games, by the way. Parents are a subject that are rarely addressed in medical training. And could that mean that they're an excluded team member? Not at Stanford, because even at Stanford, and I talked to Dr. Ross about this and thanked him for doing this, parents are even included in doctors' rounds and discussions. Well, that inclusion to me, when I'm walking around your hospital in a fog, gives me trust and affirmation. So I did due diligence when I was asked to come speak here. I talked to pediatric cardiologists, Dr. Abhishek Sharma and Dr. Frank Hanley, and here's what they told me. Jim, we'd like you to get us back to basics. We're here for the patient. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. I don't know, someone wrong there. The number 2 pursuit in human beings is affirmation. I don't know if you know that. Survival, of course, is the number 1, but the number 2 thing that people seek is affirmation. So affirmation in the medical process comes from what? It comes from trust. It comes from your patients, all of you, nurses, doctors, technicians, everybody, with our understanding fog. So this is a fear that's generated when you come to me and say your daughter is going to be dead when she's born, or dying blue, and you're not going to be able to touch her. So following through with your request for cooperation and help, I'm asking you to understand that part of what goes on with the parents. Now this is from a parent who posted, my slides are out of alignment here. So even though I desperately want to help you save my daughter's life, when I'm told that she's going to die or be dead, or she's going to have 3 or 4 more open heart surgeries, I now become disoriented. I become really raw. My feelings are raw and I'm powerless. And to me, every single staff member from the cafeteria cashier to the room cleaner is critical to my process of maintaining some semblance of understanding of what's going on. And when you show me kindness and respect, the same thing. I'm a powerful, confident man. You don't really know me. You'll learn a little bit more about me as we go along. But I'm brought to my knees with pain and all the other stuff that goes on when you tell me that my daughter is going to die and she has this condition. But when you make me part of your doctor's rounds, part of the discussion, when Audrey Rose's nurse thanks me for spending the entire night laying over her crib because she has the DTs and she's almost dying of those, and I'm so scared of her dying and I want her to know I'm there. Why especially? She's never seen the doctor. She's never seen the nurses. She's never seen my smile. So the only thing she knows is touch, and at 7 months old, she doesn't know much of anything. But when the nurse thanks me for doing that, it empowers me. I'm a little less exhausted, and I have more strength to love and nurture my daughter, which, as we all know, has strong healing properties. So today, as we go on, you're going to be shocked. And after all, even today, with all you've seen, yeah, we can still be shocked. That's when I went to Scotland to compete in Scottish Island Games, and yes, I am standing on the shores of Loch Ness, just facing the other direction. So what you hear today might make you sad, it might make you angry. Some of it you probably won't believe, and it may fill your hearts with joy and happiness, I don't know. So what do all parents, what do we all bring to this equation? Well, we all bring baggage, don't we? In any relationship, there's always baggage that you're dragging behind you. Might be prejudices and misinformation, might be psychological dysfunction, which is arrogant and defensiveness. I know none of you have ever run into any of that. They might be upset because all you do is wear white after Labor Day. Some of you are really pushing that one. And they might have unreasonable hopes and expectations. And it all leads to one thing, which I'll get to in a little bit. Now, Dr. Hanley knew my emotional gauntlet. He knew my whole story because I went and confided in him about it. So what is it like to be told that your daughter's going to be dead or dying? Knowing what happens to a parent emotionally will help everyone understand why communication is difficult and understands with your parents. And I know you've all had that. Cooperation is curtailed or ceases, and parents don't seem to cooperate and tend to their children as you ask. You want to know why I didn't understand a single word after you said dead, and it's really odd for me not to be able to understand it. Because it's like getting hit in the gut with a baseball bat. My ears started ringing. I felt like I hadn't slept in weeks, and I was overwhelmed with devastating, disorienting depression. Now, I have led an interesting life, but when I got told that, oh, there's no volume. Well, what I'm saying there is, so you want to know what it's like for a parent. Well, there, perfect timing. So that's what it's like. When you get told your child's going to have this condition, that's what it feels like. So I should be able to handle this kind of shock. You know, you get a lot of parents in there, you don't know what their backstory is. I should be able to handle it. I personally saved over 10 people's lives, personally, not with any help, all by myself. I saved my own life more than once. I almost died several times, including 2 heart attacks and kidney failure after saving 2 teenagers out of the Monterey Bay riptide. I saved them, brought them in, ripped my bicep off my arm doing it. And then 2 of us got sucked back out again, 200 yards. No, not a single person on the beach to call for help. My wife and her mother were there, but they didn't do anything about it. And I had to save the boys twice. Then I had 2 heart attacks and complete kidney failure after that. So I should be able to handle the stress, shouldn't I? But the critical bottom line for parents is that during this process with my daughter, I stood on the precipice of misunderstanding, and I no longer trusted the medical profession, and I'm going to explain to you why. But if you can just think about that for a minute. I stood on the precipice and I almost killed my own daughter. My emotional reaction to a simple conversation in Stanford Hospital almost led me as a parent to mistakenly kill my own child. And it all stemmed from a lot of misinformation and things that I was told. So this is why I ask all of you here, especially those of you that have dealt with me in the past, to please forgive me for not understanding or asking a question more than once, maybe several times. because when you get hit with this fear and fog, it makes the simplest decisions, the simplest understanding extremely difficult. Now there's my little pudding pie. So my stress, and everybody's stress, we know this, accumulates over time. Now I've risked my life to save lives several times, but here's the biggest problem that I was confronted with. I was powerless. You tell me all these issues, and who's going to take care of it? I can't fight for this. I can't save her out of the ocean. I can't take the bad guy and put him away to save my children. I can just participate by listening to the doctor and doing the best that I can. You are the emotional lifeline. You're our anchor to reality. So when you get a parent that comes in that's kind of cranky or arrogant or whatever, if you can just try to remember that there may be reasons for that. There are people that the reason is that they're just not good people. But for so many of us, we need your help and we need your understanding. And I know your time is difficult, it's tough. You don't have a lot of time to give a lot of parents a lot of, feedback and whatever, but if you can just try to think about doing that. What's my memory baggage? Well, it adds up. My pediatric cardiologist, who was in an HMO, told me that the HMO had absolutely no contact with Stanford, none. And it was kind of funny. So then after that, so this is my baggage. My daughter was transported to what I call a death hospital. I'm not going to tell you which one it was. They had her do a useless stent process. I told you earlier that I heard that the two doctors were talking about the stents, and I got kind of shook up because that's what she had. Well, it failed. Eyeball subterfuge, I'll talk to you about that in a minute. Kind of interesting, right? I said eyeball, and she has no eyeballs, just a couple of empty sockets. But I can tell you that every single nurse, who are all angels, for months before and after birth, they all asked me, why aren't you going to Stanford? So for 6 months, they just kept asking me, why aren't you going to Stanford? Now, how do you suppose that made my wife and I feel? Here we had this little girl, and all the nurses keep saying, and I said, well, can you go to the doctor and talk to me? No, we can't do that. One bad experience can taint some people, not me, but some people can be tainted by a bad experience. So the doctor says, to his patient, bad news is I prescribed the wrong medications for you a month ago. The good news is, guess who is now protected from fleas, heartworms for the next 3 months? Desensitizing does not mean depersonalizing. When I give CPR to an apartment manager and I fail, well, I have to be able to go in and tell the wife that I failed and he died. If I can't do the hard job, then I don't belong in that job. So you remember A Christmas Carol, where Bob Marley, in death, had all these chains that he was dragging behind him, and each chain was something bad he did? Well, each chain that some parents bring to you is a bad experience in medicine. Now, a normal parent has, not very much in a long line of things that they bring to the doctor. But you know what Dr. Hanley had to deal with? This is my chain of medical experiences that I brought in to Dr. Hanley to deal with. And I can tell you that he has incredible patience. So what are most parents' baggage really? Well, they're scared of shots, or they have bad reactions to medicine, or they wait in the waiting room too long, or they have long wait in the pharmacy. Most people don't have bad experiences. What were my experiences? They told me my daughter was going to be born dead. I was told that the HMO had no connection with Stanford. She was transported to a hospital immediately after birth to have a process done that they knew could not save her life. Here's the eyeball thing. So I looked at my daughter's eyes because they looked a little odd. I opened them up. I thought, well, maybe I've got temporary psychological dysfunction. I've seen it, I've dealt with it, and who's ever heard of somebody being born without eyeballs? So I asked the pediatric cardiologist. He looked, opened them in front of me, and said, I'm going to have to get an ophthalmologist to look at this because I can't tell you. So now what's going on? These cop bells of mine are going on in the back of my head going, well, dude, did you just open my daughter's eyes for me? My lieutenant once told me that if you can't do the tough job, then you need to get another job. So here this pediatric cardiologist could have just stopped it right there. But the ophthalmologist comes, this beautiful young woman comes in and looks takes a speculum and opens up my daughter's eye sockets and says to me, and I'm standing right there inches away, and she says, I gotta go get a second opinion. You gotta get a second opinion, you just used a speculum. So the next doctor comes in, and he's shaking so bad that he can't hold the speculum. He opens it in front of me and he says, well, we have to go confer. Now, I'm about ready, I don't know. So they go off and confer, and he comes back and he says to me, the reason why you can't see your daughter's eyes is because she has a film over one eye and it'll dissipate in about a week. And then, oh, by the way, the other eyelid is sealed shut. Now, do you think that maybe I'm having a tough time trusting medical people now when he says that her eyelid was sealed shut and he just opened it right in front of me and film over the eye? My degree's in human performance, so I studied the body like you did. And I thought, well, is he calling my daughter a fish or a bird? Because otherwise, I don't know anybody that has, kids don't have films over their eyes like that. So why would he tell me that? So part of my baggage is that I was told she was going to have all these heart surgeries. During one of the processes, she had 60 sticks with 4 techs. Now, if you can imagine a little 2-year-old girl getting stuck 60 times, and I'm not lying to you, I counted them, and then going through 4 techs, I finally had to order them to stop. 60 times. Blind. Can't see my smiling face. Can't see what's going on. Has no idea what's going on. And yet she got stuck 60 times. She almost died of the DTs after her first open heart surgery, and then she had imminent heart surgery, throat surgery. Now here is where I told you I was going to tell you something that could save lives. Because you can imagine that by now, I'm not trusting a lot of people. I was in a profession where I got lied to every day, and now I had all these misinformation episodes, and I'm really kind of on edge, huh? And my daughter, I'm worried about her dying. So I said in this slide, I stood on the precipice of misunderstanding and almost accidentally killed my daughter. So this is why I'm asking you to keep the emotional aspect of it in mind because of this event. And if it happened to me, it could maybe happen to other people. So please try to maintain trust with us by acknowledging the emotional effects to avoid this kind of mistake. And again, if you have time, because I know everybody's busy. Now, after living on floors, now, it's not like the new hospital now. There was nothing there. So when I stayed in the hospital for 10 days with my daughter, I slept on the floor. I slept on couches with people walking by all the time. There were no rooms for us to sleep in or anything else. We were 10 minutes from leaving the hospital. A strange doctor goes walking by the window and stops and turns around and comes into the room, and he walks right up to my doctor's crib. Well, I'm on edge now, so I'm wondering, what's he doing there? He says, do you mind if I listen to your daughter's throat? She had some stridor. We've been told, oh, it's just stridor, and it'll go away. It's the endotracheal tube. And, of course, what was my reaction? What? This strange doctor who I have no idea who this guy is. So all the mistrust and the betrayal and the anger and everything came coming back again. Nothing but emotions were talking here. Well, you can imagine what I was thinking in my head. Something told me I better listen to what this guy had to say, even though every fiber of my body did not want to listen to what he said. So quietly he said, my name is Dr. Peter J. Coltai. May I please listen to your daughter's throat? Dr. Coltai brilliantly sensed my hesitation because I didn't say anything to him. I just gritted my teeth and you could hear him naturally. I'm a throat surgeon and you can stand right there. I just want to take a quick listen, please. While the stethoscope touched her throat, this is what I said to him. All she has is stridor, and we're leaving the hospital right now because we were just getting ready to walk out the door. Dr. Coltai abruptly turned and pointed to a nurse in the hallway and said in a firm command voice, alert the emergency room and have them prep for immediate emergency surgery for this child right now. Had I let my baggage and anger and mistrust of this strange doctor guide me to saying no, we would have gone home. And my daughter would have died in her sleep because the endotracheal tube rubbed the skin raw, provided a platform for abnormal cell growth, and had perfectly closed and was growing closed. It was almost closed, and we would have gone home, put her to bed, and she would have died in her sleep. And why? If I would have let those emotions misguide me and my mistrust misguide me, that is exactly what would have happened to my little baby. So what's the bottom line? 9 out of 10 times it has nothing to do with you all. And I'm asking you to please keep, the parents' emotional weaknesses in mind and have patience with us. So what did all your hard work and sacrifice produce? Well, there's my little pudding pie with Dr. Hanley a couple of weeks ago. She's 11 years old, and as you can see, she has no eyeballs, so she doesn't open up her eyes. Our earth is blessed with a kind, caring, compassionate 11-year-old love bug. From you, all of you, in some form or another, are doing this all over the place. And as parents, we thank you for that. She started touching people's lives immediately. She was chosen as the special representative for Blind Babies Foundation in 2009. Absolutely would not have happened if it wasn't for Dr. Hanley and all of you. She was interviewed by KCBS Radio at an Easter egg hunt. 2 years old. 3 years old, sorry. Again, from you saving this beautiful angel, you made this possible. Now you have to extrapolate out to the tens of thousands that Dr. Hanley and all of you are saving, right? You're making this possible for all these children. She sang the national anthem in front of the 49ers Levi Stadium in Santa Clara in 2016, October 2nd. 70,000 plus people, standing room only. Why? You all and Dr. Hanley. Now if you multiply that by, again, the tens of thousands of people.
A talented 9-year-old singer who was born without eyes and a congenital heart defect. She now lives each day to the fullest and is a perfect example of how we should all embrace life. Her dream is to sing the national anthem here at Levi Stadium. The whole of her football team. The Golden Knights, in partnership with Brooklyn and the MAPCAS Foundation, are proud to make her wish a reality. Please join me in welcoming Audrey Rose as she makes her NFL debut.
You're responsible for this, and for the thousands and thousands of other children that you have saved. Yeah, I'm getting the light, and I don't know what that color means. So I'm going to have to get through this real quick. Comcast television cameraman who's seen dozens and dozens of national anthems told me that he's never seen the crowd reaction that she got. They interrupted us 4 times and I couldn't even hear her singing, they were so loud, and I was down on the field. So again, tens of thousands of lives saved, my heart, my daughter's heart, and I'm sorry, but I do a different program. So you've provided an unbridled happiness for thousands and thousands of children. She's been in the newspaper. She's commended for being a bully hunter at school. Can you believe that? A blind child hears bullying and goes over to those people, stands in front of them, and stops it. Now she does have an adult aide there, but my daughter does it on her own and was commended for that. Two groups of people wanted to do fundraisers for her. She said, Daddy, if people are going to help me out, I want to earn my own money. So what does she do? She started raising lumber, and she did, and she sold 6 of them so far. So talk about a proud father. And look at that, our own Dr. Hanley. And she's with him there in an article. She's in newspaper articles. And again, I'm just making the point that you've done this for so many people. Her greatest wish in life is to make people happy with her voice, and within 36 hours of her national anthem video, 71,000 views and 438 comments. Now, she doesn't understand what 70,000 people is, has no idea, but she knows what all those people liking her stuff is, and I hope the sound is up for this.
Hi, this is audreyrosewalker, and I just want to thank Dr. Frank Hanley for saving my life and for this wonderful life he's given me, and thank you, Dr. Hanley, and all your doctors and nurses.
I'm sorry I went over. That's for you. Thank you for letting me speak today. Has anybody got any quick questions?
She has a phenomenal voice.
She does, thank you very much. She's kicking it. She just finished a play. Cat in Hat, she was the Cat in Hat. And 2 weeks ago, she was Jafar in Aladdin. She played Jafar, you know, the evil guy? Yeah. Well, she's doing good. Thank you very much. And thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you bet. Oh, had a lot of high power stuff to go up against. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, it was just, everyone's just like, wow. It seems like so long ago.
Hey, thanks so much for talking. That was great. I always like to hear from parents, and I always try really hard to connect with them, make sure they know.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that.
Absolutely.
I
No,
really
that was
appreciate it.
fantastic. I know I hate standing up and talking in front of a bunch of people. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very
Good job.
much. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.